They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
What'd you do to your back? Just old and played basketball normal and it just stopped working?
That's literally it. I played basketball normal and I'm just old.
I really don't hit.
It don't hit at all. It just quit. It just gave up.
Lower?
Yeah, close to my hips.
Oh, that's the worst, dude.
It's right where it attaches there. It's been on and off for a while, but this is the most painful one.
You got to start playing golf, buddy. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, it's been over, but I can't do anything else cardio-wise. I just have no ability or interest to do it.
Are you in any type of pain, Trae?
No, I hit just fine. I don't play basketball though. My back was hurting yesterday for no good reason, but it seems fine today, and it just sort of be like that. And I don't think it was hurting near as bad as Drew's evidently is. Corey, I'm assuming you want to talk about Georgia, as is your right, but I'd like to just sort of go ahead and get that over with because that game didn't hit for nobody else on planet Earth, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
No, that's literally what I was about to say was that, like, listen, last year, like, and I even told you this, I was like, anything, like, once we finally won it against Alabama, I was like, everything else is just going to kind of be gravy. And, I mean, I don't think even if it did come down to the wire with TCU and there was a lot of emotion, I still think I would have been like, cool, wasn't as cool as the first one, but glad we did it. But yeah, dude, like that game could only hit for a Georgia fan,
right.
You know, like, and if that was any other game, I'd already turned it off. But I was like, I want to see how different Kirby Smart is than Mark Richt by, you know, doing things like going for it on 4th and 5th when they're up by 45 points. So I was enjoying the padding of the stats, but yeah, dude, the game was shit. TCU had no business being there.
Well, listen, I don't know what y'all had in mind, but I'll just tell you, I haven't recorded an episode of the WellRed Podcast in like a month because we banked a couple in Nashville. And then I was in Salina, and y'all had to do whatever. So I haven't been on here in a minute. So I've been keeping a list of silly, worthless topics I want to talk to you guys about.
Please,
if that's okay.
Hell yeah!
Just get into them randomly.
Yeah, let me
whatever you want to do.
Let me plug the new pod, Gravy Baby. There's clips up. It's hilarious. Carmen's hilarious. Let me tell a quick anecdote before we get into silly topics that I think will hit for you guys. Andy is working from home. She got a new part-time job. And she's working for a company that like does online classes for art, and they hired her for her like editing skills, but she's sort of a jack of all trades. They pay her like you'd pay an editor, but it seems so far that like 60% of her job is customer service.
Oh boy.
So Andy's just on Zooms with old people who take painting classes on the internet. So my mornings are over here taking pills because pills hit with a hurt back, playing with dogs because she's also started a dog sitting empire, playing with these giant chromosome deficient looking bulldogs.
Yeah.
While I hear Andy just going, okay, so you can't hear me through your mic. Well, I don't think that's where you'd be able to hear me from. I want you to go to the bottom of your screen. There's a button. No, not like a button on a jacket. More like a box. More like a box, I guess. It'll say settings. I want you to click that. Now, what does it say? No, I know you can't hear. I meant the screen. What do you read on the screen? I know it doesn't actually say anything for just like an hour, and I am cracking up while playing with these bulldogs. I've got the life right now, other than the hurt
I
back.
was about to say, it seems like you may have already thought of this, but like you should like sit there all day and like transcribe all the conversations like a court transcriber or whatever, and just read them on Gravy Baby, or here.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to start doing.
How did she didn't like specifically corner the market on dog sitting only bulldogs, right? Because like that's a real coup if that's what happened. Because I feel like everybody would want that. Well, I guess most dog people love all dogs and whatever, but fucking
Yeah, but there's some like you don't want to
bulldogs-
like if I'm dog sitting, I don't want a Chihuahua.
Right.
Yeah, well, we like Chihuahuas because they're mean and that's funny. But we just had these Bulldogs since that first picture I sent you. I think they're going home sometime tonight. We just had them for that many days. I will say from my experience with 2 Bulldogs, one's British, one's American, that the only downside is that they are super sweet. They're pretty docile. They're lazy. But like these 2 in particular, they don't care how big they are. They flop on you and move you and sit on the couch and get behind you and walk underneath you and all that, in spite of the fact that they're like 90-pound loafs.
Yeah.
I have drool on my butt right now, and because my back is hurt, I cannot get it off.
No, dude. I used to
Bulldogs
have
are
an
what's
English.
up.
I used to have an English Bulldog years ago, as y'all know, Dooley, and he would like take him on a walk or
Didn't
something.
you shoot him when he was perfectly fine?
Yeah, he killed
No.
him in front of his children.
Yeah, that's exactly
said,
what
"This
happened.
is for you."
Threw him off a bridge, as my people are wont to do. No,
On
that's
the
not funny.
spikes.
He lived a long for a bulldog and privileged life, so he died at 7 or whatever. But
8 months.
Yeah. But anyway, he used to just like give up and just lay down and
He still does, but he used to too.
Yeah, no, dude, he's long since dead. But like, you'd have to literally pick him up and carry him back to the house or whatever because he wouldn't. He was just like, "I'll just lay here and die. I don't give a fuck," you know. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm not walking anymore.
One of these has a joint disease. We got to give it medicine
course.
for it. And like, it's
Naturally.
not the American one. It's not the Georgia Bulldog, but I wish it was because I keep saying Corey has gout. Every time he like starts limping, I just look at the dog and be like, Corey's got gout.
Is one of them a French Bulldog?
No, there's American and British.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Right on.
Dude, I said British Bulldog to this girl out here that I do a show with at the store. She's one of the producers. And she started laughing at me like I was the dumbest hick that ever existed. I was like, first of all, British Bulldog is a wrestler. But second of all, like I looked into it, English Bulldog is a much more common way to phrase it. But people call them British Bulldogs. I got so annoyed.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing. The British Bulldog, that's why he was that, or they were the British Bulldogs, and then when Homie left, it was just because that's already a thing.
Well, British and English I understand there are subtle differences because we're talking about an empire versus a nationality, but like those words are basically interchangeable, right?
British and English. Yeah, British. Yeah. Actually, I know this. They're generally interchangeable. I mean, well, no, they're not, but people use them that way. So British means anything on that island, right? Whereas English only means England, the country of England on that island. Now, a lot of people on that island, they don't want to be called British, but I'm saying like that island is the Isle of Great Britain. So like if you're Welsh, you're also British. Again, I don't think that
don't
hits
for them. Not even a little bit, does it?
Well, I was going to say if there's a Welsh Bulldog, then I'll take my medicine and be wrong, but there's not.
Right. Yeah, no. She don't hit. Whoever this lady is correcting you erroneously.
Just laughed at me.
Yeah.
Just in my face. Like that's what age I am at, that women will laugh in my face now, which, has a lot of positives too. Like young girls just laugh in my face.
Yeah.
No,
I've been there.
I think there's other positives that come with that. You know what I mean?
They don't want to talk to you for long.
Exactly.
There you go.
So, what'd y'all get up to last week? Or Corey wasn't on it either, was he?
I wasn't on it either. No, we just been waiting on you to come back and tell us the silly stuff.
I talked with Andy, and I finally told. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I thought this is what you were setting me up for. I talked to Andy. Me and Andy did WellRed Alone, and I told the Burning Man story. Got a lot of messages about it.
Oh boy!
I'm pretty sure I told y'all in the thread.
Oh! Yes, you did. It's just now all clicking for me. Yeah, I bet you got a lot of messages from our fans.
Well, I
now
mean,
I might
if we
have to go back
rehash
to
it
the
now, I'm
thread.
just going to be rehashing it.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
You don't know
'Cause
what I'm talking about?
I don't remember. Obviously, Corey remembers, so I know it's in the thread, but I don't remember. But you don't have to rehash it because everybody listening already heard you do it last week, and I'm not going to subject them to that. You can text me afterwards, or I'll find it in the text thread or something.
Okay, that's fine. It's going to be so funny when you are told this. Well, tell us one of your silly bits, Trae.
Well,
It's been a month. What's been going on in Salina?
I know, but I was wanting to get to 15 minutes first. So, yeah, I guess we can talk about Salina. It still don't hit. So we're having to clean out the house we grew up in because we're going to do something with it. We don't know exactly what yet. And, dude, the number of messages or, literally people driving up to the house.
Oh, yeah.
Asking us about like it seems like it's the talk of the town because Salina's so goddamn small.
Right.
That just don't ever really happen. I guess hardly ever. Paige has been getting so many messages and stuff from people being like, "What are you guys gonna do with that house? You know, I heard that maybe you was gonna sell it. How much you want for it? Like that type of thing. Just from everybody all the time, and also the whole process of cleaning out the house you grew up in.
That's got to be brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't. If you mean in a sentimental way, not really for me, because I was mostly just annoyed the whole time because for a lot of reasons I don't have to get into right now. But first thing
I really wish you would.
No, it's okay. But the first thing I did was clean out my childhood bedroom, and I texted y'all this, and I don't care to say it. I've talked openly about it before, but the sheer number of Confederate flags and Confederate flag-related paraphernalia, Confederate flags on county fair art, literal flags, folded up
what
flags,
a phrase.
County fair art posters, hand-drawn Confederate flags and notebooks. Skinner, accoutrement,
Corey,
fucking...
please do a character county fair art critic.
Oh, that's fucking
that's
hilarious.
And
I'll tell you what,
Tabert.
I'm going to start with the one Trae sent of the Confederate flag with the alien.
Yeah, right. So, and I threw away a bunch of great county fair art, but what's funny is all that, it was equal parts Confederate flags and culturally appropriated hip hop shit, white trash, you know what I mean, lugs, boots, or shirts or whatever, and also the county fair art of Mace and Puff Daddy and whoever else, and then all kinds of basketball players and black models.
There's an airbrushed Venn diagram.
Yeah.
White trash poor and black poor accoutrements from the 90s.
And the Venn diagram where it most overlaps is family reunion T-shirts. So you actually had a poster of Mace from a county fair. Did you have it? Did you commission it?
No, it was a little. It was the same as all of them. The little paper, frame around just a little square photo or whatever. Yeah. And then I had a bunch of wrestling ones too. But I had one of Mace. It was.
Did you throw the wrestling ones away?
I threw them all away, dog. Sorry.
Dog.
I ain't had time for all that shit.
Great. This is so great. I had Tupac. I want to say that real quick. Corey, did you not have any of those? Would your mama not let you have that trash at your house?
No, I definitely, I know what you're talking about, and I definitely had some, but it was I want to say that I'm certain at some point when I was a kid, I had a Dukes of Hazzard one. I know all my buddies had them, but no, I mean, you're right in that if I got them, it would have been when I wasn't with my mama, because she wouldn't have been down for that.
So Trae, you failed him. You failed new Corey, and you failed childhood Corey by not saving those for him.
Well, that's all right. He fails me all the time.
I just can't believe
just by not eating enough.
I gained 10 pounds this weekend. I gained 10 fucking pounds this weekend in LA.
You're trying at least.
Am I back?
I appreciate that.
Good
weekend?
graces.
That sounds like a lot.
It is
Well,
a lot.
you know,
He's wild with his numbers. Dude. You know how he is.
But this weekend is, I have to count last night too because of the Georgia game. It was Thursday through Monday. I put on 10 pounds, which, you know, that's doable. And also, it's the flight. I'm carrying a lot of water. I'm swole up. You know?
Now, the thing I wanted to say about that is just I realized while looking through all those that would be so confusing and confounding, I think, to people from like elsewhere or whatever. Right. That combination of, you know, paraphernalia or whatever for a teenager to have, but I feel like it was actually all extremely standard in Salina. Like that's the thing that people didn't realize was, you know, this obsession with black culture while also rocking the Confederate flag. But furthermore, that's you know, it you know, I was a dumbass kid who didn't think the Confederate flag meant the stuff that it obviously does mean.
Yeah, well, dude, none of us did.
But right, to me, at the time, I didn't think that, and I just thought it went hard, and so, you know, I had it all over the place.
Here's the difference between... Go ahead.
How do grown-ups who live that dichotomy now, which is very common, there's like racist white rappers. There's like MAGA rappers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how that...
What is it like? Oh, the racist... Is it like the racists should be separate? I'm genuinely curious. They're not like, oh, you're kind of racist. Like literal white supremacists who listen to white people rap. How do they do that, you think?
Buddy, I'd sooner lasso the moon, frankly. I don't know. I guess to them, they're probably the type of people that are like, what, rap isn't black culture. It's just a style of music. They ain't the only ones that get to do it, you know? I don't, but like, yeah, it's because in order for you to have gotten to where you wanted to do rap, you had to listen to a lot of it, and most of it is from black people. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but they,
also
you know, that's...
invented by them. It's got to be a separate but equal bullshit thing of like, oh, I don't think black people, I just think they should have their own part of America and we should have our part of America, which is an insane belief in and of itself. But
I just think they they got a lot of cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics and all that shit. Well, there's so many examples of it. They don't make any goddamn sense. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene just used a Dr. Dre song in a campaign video, or not whatever, in a I Hit video that she made of herself. Yeah. And Dr. Dre pulled it down. And when he said, yeah, that ain't it for me, her response was, okay, so while I may enjoy the sounds of the chord progressions, just so you know, I would never use your hateful and misogynist and whatever lyrics or whatnot. So it's like, even that, it's like, how do you actually make sense of? I mean, look, dude, it was from Still DRE, and that is one of the hardest going beats of all time, you know. But like, not if you that bitch. She like,
no, she don't hit.
No, she ain't. Well, she ain't allowed to fuck with that. I wouldn't feel comfortable fucking with that. That beat, you know what I mean?
You highlighted how funny her comment is too. She called a Dr. Dre beat a chord progression.
Right.
Like you couldn't be more white than calling. Well, I just really like the chord progression on That's Forgot About said. Dre.
Yeah. Also, it's this like
chord
she would have never
goes hard.
Yeah, like she would have never pointed out the misogynistic, disgusting lyrics had he not told her to take that shit down.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's just like you're telling on yourself so much now. Like, oh, now this song that you chose don't hit just because the artist was like, "Fuck you, bitch." So she don't hit.
No, she don't hit. All right, well now we can take a break and then I'll do some silly stuff if y'all want to.
Sounds good. We'll be right back right after this.
All right, and we're back. I don't know which one I want to start with, so I guess maybe this one, because I actually didn't write this one down. I just got reminded of it yesterday. I'm about to incite some wrath if certain parts of the internet get a hold of this segment. So let me preface this by saying, listen, Beyonce hits for me just fine. But I want to talk about...
You don't want the hive, buddy.
No, I know. I don't. I don't want that. I don't want that smoke. I don't want
just
that
fine,
smoke.
Huh? Just fine.
But I do want to talk about one particular song because it popped up on my Peloton ride, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never heard it. I don't know if y'all have heard it. Looking it up, it's from 2008, so it's real old. But, you know, Beyonce been hitting since forever. But have y'all ever heard the song Diva by Beyonce?
No. Okay. No, I have not.
The chorus just repeats these lines basically over and over. It goes, a diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. A diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, over and over again, right? That's the chorus. And then okay. What do y'all think diva means?
A bitch. And I don't mean that. And I'm not saying that it should. I'm not saying that it should, because we all know that in this world, if a man is showing some attitude, he's just wanting to get what's his, and he's just being, being forthright. But if a woman does the same thing, she's being a diva. But like a diva, like the reason they call Mariah Carey a diva is because she's like, I have to have 16 different colored bananas in my, dressing room or whatever.
So I think, especially when you're talking about people like Beyonce, Mariah Carey, or whatnot, I think an inherent part of the definition of diva is that there's a massive amount of talent there. So it's like they're,
of course,
high maintenance, but justifiably so.
Yeah.
Is how I would define like a literal actual diva, right?
Right.
Like I think, but my point is, it ain't got nothing to do with hustling. I mean, like, in fact, I would argue that it's almost antithetical to hustling. Like, like it don't hit to have to hustle. Do you know what I mean? Like you got like, if you're a diva, you just say,
bring me that tiny pig.
And then it appears, but that's not a hustle. Somebody else has to go hustle for a pig.
You have to hustle to become a diva.
Perfect story for this.
Perhaps, but I just don't think a diva is the song goes, a diva is a female version of a hustler, and I just contest that assertion.
I would say that a diva is the female version of a pimp.
Well, pimps are hustlers in a lot of ways.
No, I mean in the sense that we use pimp, to where like, oh, that dude's a pimp. You know what I mean?
I don't want to get into it about African American vernacular and ebonics right now, because I don't know if any of us are qualified. Trae's probably the most qualified, but I think all of his knowledge is from like 98 to 07. But I want to just tell a quick story to highlight it. Exactly. You're 1 year off. We used to work. Andy was a manager at like a high-end catering company in Times Square. J-Lo was at an event one time, and Andy was assigned to her. So she was her point of contact on the end of the company. Now, that doesn't mean she interacted much with J-Lo, because J-Lo had people that, would talk to Andy. But at one point, Andy brought her water, and she brought it, and she was like, here's your water, Miss J-Lo. And J-Lo didn't look at her. She went like this. Andy picked it up towards her face, and J-Lo just turned her head without looking or addressing Andy at all, other than to come here, and sucked water from the straw, and then went like that. And that is the opposite of hustling, as you have just stated.
Right.
And right. Now, I guess I would question if hustler means work hard, because Jay-Z, what was that song? I'm a hustler, baby, and I want you to know.
Baby. Mm-hmm. I just want you to know.
I don't know if that means he works hard or if it means he hits.
Go.
I genuinely don't know if that means he's worked hard or if it means that he's hits. I know that hustler means hustling drugs. It did at one point, in that world or whatever. But I think you're saying that diva just means hitter.
A diva has to hit, because a non-hitter can't be a diva, because people just wouldn't pay attention to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then you're just a bitch.
Right. And if you hit, you're not gonna be hustling. Because you know what I'm saying? Exactly what Drew said. The story Drew told is exactly what I'm talking about. That J-Lo story is like, that's not very opposite of hustling. And I feel like that everything about what ostensibly defines a diva and what they are is pretty opposite of the concept of hustling to me.
All right, quick question though. Doesn't hustle also mean like running a hustle? See, now we're just whitening it up. But what I'm trying to say is, tricking people, for lack of a better way to phrase it, like getting one over on folks. Oh, he hustled you. I hustled a guy out of his money.
Yes.
Well, I think hustle and grind kind of go hand in hand now. Sure. And I think when like a lot of people would call The Rock a hustler. He hits so he can have people give him water, but like the dude still works out 8 hours a day and does like 3 film projects a day. Like he
Right.
is hustling, you know.
Do you associate everything you just said with divas though? Because I don't.
No,
Well,
not
what
at
about
all.
this one? Does Hustler
They go on
also
when they
not
want to
mean-
go on, and everybody else can
Yeah.
fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? And again,
Does
because they hit real hard. Like, so, you know, it ain't
Does
like
Hustler
the Rock,
not
though.
also mean, though, what I'm talking about? Like someone who runs game?
Hustling.
Yeah, like hustling.
Yeah, I mean the
enterprising.
original. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm saying though, like the term diva and hustler to me are not meaning the same thing.
Right.
I agree.
That's what
it's
I'm
hard
saying,
to
too.
argue with Beyonce. I agree with you. It's just like, I just feel like we're missing something because it's Beyonce. 'cause
Here's
she don't make
what I
many
think.
mistakes.
Here's what I think maybe happened. Let me speak for Beyonce here after criticizing her.
Yeah.
I think that it seems to me like obviously Beyonce was getting and has always gotten and continues to be classified as a diva, right? She's definitely on the list of like the biggest divas, most famous divas on earth or whatever. And I feel like it's Beyonce, like, I don't know, reclaiming that word or redefining the word. You know, it's like, yeah, I am a diva. You know why? Because this is what diva means. But I'm saying, you listen to the song, you're like, but that ain't really what diva means, though. Like,
Right.
like,
I want Beyonce to do a podcast and be like, oh, he's a liberal redneck. Okay, well, see, that's the thing. That ain't what redneck means. It's like he's trying to reclaim it, but that ain't what redneck means.
right. Yeah, I mean, you know, she could just do whatever she wants. Obviously, the song hit for people, I guess. I mean, if it popped up on a playlist 14 years later, it must have hit for somebody. But
Nah, she's wrong.
but see, Drew, I feel like it would be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, I think I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to understand her motivation to go against what you're saying, which is totally logical. But I can't pretend to keep up with hip hop now, much less then.
Yeah, I was about to say that it's done changed so much since then.
I'm trying to figure out who wrote it because I don't know.
It was 17 different people. I promise you that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Part of the reason that happens with Beyonce songs is she uses a fuck ton of samples.
Right.
Right. It was co-written by her and at least 2 other people, looks like. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, moving on.
Hey, speaking of music, Bonnaroo lineup dropped, and it was pretty good.
Ooh.
Foo Fighters Sunday, Corey. That's my least favorite. That's my least favorite decision that they made. But I knew you'd
Wait,
like
why
it.
that it's Sunday?
No, I'm not a big Foo Fighter guy. I don't hate.
Yeah, but it's an experience. You get to see one of the last living rock and rollers, dude.
Yeah. Dave Grohl don't hit for me that hard.
Why? What's he ever done to you?
It's not me. I mean, he came across pretty shitty in the whole when Kurt died scenario, but that's not really it for me. Like, I just feel
He
like
was also in his 20s. I mean, you know.
Sure, I don't think he's like the worst person in the world. I think that the Foo Fighters make songs for commercials. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, they're like barely above Nickelback, and I like weirdly think more highly of Nickelback than most people because I think they get a bad rap. But then I think less highly of Foo Fighters because I think they're overrated. Like, I think they should be like kind of evenly. It doesn't matter. I just was upset that was the legacy act because I thought it was going to be Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus. That's really what's happening here.
Tyler Childers.
I mean, that would have hit.
Tyler Childers is
They booked him before. Yeah.
Third build on Saturday.
That's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah, they booked him. The theory on that is that they booked him right as he was blowing up. Because if you remember, I think I told this on the podcast, I saw him open for Sturgill at the Civic Coliseum, and I'm not kidding, 1,000 people left after Tyler played.
Yeah, but even if they did book him before that, like, you change the billing to put one of the hittingest dudes on top, right?
It depends on how hard you hit, and Bonnaroo like does that though. Like it's happened a few times where Bonnaroo's done that.
But okay, what are y'all saying? He should be higher or low? Because I didn't realize he was that
Higher.
big of a deal. Is what he should be higher?
Oh, no,
dude,
Trae's,
no, he's
He's
massive.
genuinely one of the biggest
He's
acts in the world right now.
arenas. He's doing arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Y'all know
And
I don't
selling
listen.
them out in a
I don't
day.
keep up with music anymore.
Yeah, no, he's fucking huge, dude. Not only that, like one of his, I'm all yourn, that song.
Yeah.
I hear that on my wife's phone 17 times a day because it's a really popular TikTok song. Like he is fucking massive.
And that kid, Zach Bryan, that we talked about, we shared a couple of his YouTube videos, Trae. He's
Same
barely
thing.
underneath him. They're actually co-headlining Railbird.
Yeah,
So
and they
it's everybody who opens for BJ Barham blows up. I want to see if BJ will take me on a leg this year.
he's the
Who
Janet
is,
Williams of music. I've always said it.
Who's Odessa? I don't know.
Odessa's like a Portugal the Man-ish type band. Like they're jammy a little bit, but it's live music. And they play Bonnaroo a bunch, and they've just kind of Tame Impala. They're American Tame Impala.
Because they're the headliner Saturday night, and then Lil Nas X is number 2, and then Tyler Childers. But he's above My Morning Jacket, Korn, Sheryl Crow. I know those last two are old.
Well,
Yeah,
but
all that checks out.
I don't know how they decide the order, but most people talk about it in terms of lines. So they would consider Little Nas X, Tyler, Korn, and My Morning Jacket to be equal as sub headliners.
Yeah.
It's obviously not alphabetical. Some people say it's just aesthetics, and then some people say no, it's the order that it goes in. But my point is, most people would say that he's just equal with all those people you just said.
Man, I'm kind of bummed that I'm about to have a baby because I'd really like to go see Dave Grohl, but I don't know if I'm going to make the trek and leave the wife at home.
Yeah, it's such a bummer.
Well, it kind of is. I want to see the Foo Fighters. But also, though, I've always wanted to see the Foo Fighters, but I think I would rather do it at a Foo Fighters at a show that's just the Foo Fighters, not at Bonnaroo, because I'd like to, have a ticket, go in someplace, sit in a nice environment, and then leave instead of, because I know what happens to me if I go to Bonnaroo. I'm going to get strung out on some Mexican speed and just go in.
They're doing day passes for the first time in many years. If you wanted to just go for Sunday.
Helped.
But anyway, I'm pretty pumped about that lineup in general. Kendrick Lamar's album is my favorite album of the year. Well, maybe him or Jid, and Jid's also on the bill. Saturday's so good. I'm gonna have a hard time picking shows. Anyway, I'm just pumped about it. I don't know why I said speaking of Beyonce, she's never played Bonnaroo, never will.
You don't think she ever will?
Maybe as a legacy act, if it's still around 10 years from now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's never done it. A lot of the female pop stars, they're too big for it. It's like they make way more money doing it on their own.
All right. So this one is too late in the year because this is a Christmas-related thing because, again, I haven't been on here in a while. Haven't been on here in a while, and while in Tennessee over Christmas, I came across this somewhere. It was Reddit, of course, and I was like, I want to put that to them. It's actually also music related. I thought this was an interesting observation. So the song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know that song. Yeah. That song is a very rare, is an example of a pretty rare occurrence, I believe, which is something that is totally innocent to adults, but inappropriate to children. Which is the opposite of how that you hardly ever see that. Right. Like stuff like in Zootopia where they have a reference to Breaking Bad, a reference to like meth cooking or whatever. Like that goes right over kids' heads, but the adults get it. But that song is kind of the inverse of that because if you're an adult, you know she's kissing the dad because he's dressed up as Santa Claus or whatever. So it's just like a cutesy little song. But if you're a kid, you believe in Santa Claus. You're like, Mommy's a fucking cheating whore. Exactly. What the fuck is that about? And I don't really have anything else to say about that. But I thought that was an interesting observation, and I can't think of any other like examples of that sort of thing.
That's a great observation, and you should like retool that for the Zany shows next year and do it as a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of other examples. I feel like I was a perverted child. This surprises no one. I feel like there was a couple of times where I really thought something was wild that wasn't, but I can't. Nothing's coming to mind other than this
Yeah,
song. I definitely
about
thought
to
this
say-
song was about cheating.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, like, I literally can't think of another song that fits that particular genre. Well-read
I
listeners.
think it's because, please, if you think of
Oh,
a good
cuss
example,
words.
hit us with it. But I think it's because it requires the belief in Santa Claus. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
That's the determining factor that makes what I said true. And so
Yeah.
it's a very, very specific thing that, it's hard to think of another example of it outside of specifically Santa Claus and Christmas related stuff, or at least it is for me.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
pull.
this is not as cool of an example because it's less intricate and nuanced as that song. But just when kids think that words are cuss words that ain't,
Yeah.
and
like
then you
what?
catch them saying them. Fiddlesticks was one in our family that like a lot of kids thought, a lot of our family thought was a cuss word till like 7 or 8. But then you catch them saying it, so like they think they're cussing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's all
that
I
does
got.
it. I've definitely. It's funny because I can think of examples of the opposite happening, of one of my boys not knowing that a cuss word was a cuss word and just saying it. I can think of 2 examples right now, which is fine. Of course, I don't give a fuck about either of these, but they were both just kind of funny.
Yeah, no.
It was Bishop both times. We were on the houseboat once, and Thompson's son went off the slide into like a floaty on the water or something like that. And Bishop was telling us that he did it, and as he was explaining, he was like, yeah, and then he flew off and hit the thing and bounced in the water, and I was like, damn, right? And Katie, of course, is like, Bishop, whatever, and I was just laughing because I thought it was funny. And then, but he didn't get in any trouble or anything because it's funny. He used the word right, but he never had any context to assume that you couldn't say it, I guess, evidently.
Yeah, of course.
But, and then the other one was, and this one was way more direct because Katie just said it and then he said it right back. He was talking about the cat, and the cat was doing some cat shit or whatever. And Katie goes, I think she's pissed off. And Bishop goes, she gets pissed off a lot.
The first time I ever did it, it's one of the hardest I've ever seen my grandmother laugh. My grandmother was a sweet church lady that never even sniffed alcohol nor cigarettes, never cursed a day in her life. She was that, but she was also someone who, like, it's not that she wanted to hear dirty jokes, but when she would hear a dirty joke every now and then, you could tell that she was like, well, I didn't mean for this to happen, so God can't be mad at me, but I got to have it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like a thing that happened to her. So the first time I cursed, we were driving to Florida, and I was playing the.
Do you actually remember this? Like,
yeah.
So how old do you think you? I'm fascinated by this. How old do you think you were?
I was probably 7, maybe something like that, 7 or 8. Yeah, I mean, I remember the van. I remember us all being in there, and
I think it's common for people to remember events that become family stories because
we tell it a lot, and
it got burned in your memory. Then, like your mom probably told it the week after, and the week after that, and when you did remember it, and then that burned that memory in there.
Yeah, I do have a lot of insane memories from being that age, but with this one in particular, we're driving down the road in our Toyota Previa egg van, and I'm getting 18-wheelers to honk, giving them this gimmick right here.
Of course.
And I remember I had gotten like 18 in a row to do it, and I was pumped because I was going to like go for 20. And I get right there, and I'm doing this, and I see the guy see me, and I'm just like, hey, buddy. And he doesn't do it, and I just screamed, you bastard. and my family was like, my mom was like, what the hell? And my granny was just, wheezing laughing. And I'd heard it on The Simpsons or something, Yeah.
That's so funny. Another good one is booze. And this might just be like in Christian households, but like, I can remember kids thinking like sparkling apple juice was booze.
Yeah.
And then they see like a 16-year-old drink it, and they're like whispering about it, and they're talking shit,
me and my buddies did that once. It's embarrassing and retro, whatever, dipshit teenagers. But we,
too,
You
buddy.
got fake drunk?
because it was margarita mix is what it was, and we did not realize that was not margaritas.
Alcohol.
And
yeah.
I don't know how this is going to make me sound. I don't know if it's going to sound like I'm bullshitting or not, but I can remember thinking like, I feel like I'm missing something. Am I like being confused?
I'm just sick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like I just
sugar
kind of
rush.
feel gross in my stomach. Yeah, exactly. But everybody was kind of, bullshitting like they could totally feel it, dude. Or nobody did anything crazy. Nobody like fucking went streaking in the backyard or nothing like that, pretending to be hammered. But like, everybody was acting like, yeah, you feel it? Yeah, I think I feel it. Yeah, man, whatever, like that type of shit. And it was just a whole fucking bottle of margarita mix that we drank between like 3 or 4 of us.
That was such a integral part of when you're a kid and you start experimenting. Was everyone sitting around there just asking, "Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel it?" Yeah, because I remember the first time I ever dipped. I was in the back of my buddy's truck. He was a senior on the football team, and I was a freshman, so he was driving around, and he was like, "You want a dip?" And I was just trying to be cool, so I was like, "Well, yeah, I'd like a dip." So I put the dip in. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, getting ready to spit it and stuff. And my buddy's beside me, my buddy Will, Randy's boy, and he just kept poking me. He's like, "Do you feel it? Do you feel it?" And I was like, I think. And he slapped my leg and was like, "Can you feel that?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Are you like numb or something?" I was like, "No." And then he slapped me. Then he slapped me on the back and goes, "Can you feel that?" And as he did, it made me swallow the spit.
Oh no!
And we had to pull over so I could puke off a bridge. And we had just gotten back from Golden Corral, so boy, it was a lot.
Did the guy driving know that it wasn't your fault that you were vomiting? Like,
Yeah.
Did everybody know that you got hit and swallowed spit, or was it just like, damn, freshmen started puking immediately?
No, because I immediately said something when Will did that. I was like, "God damn it, motherfucker, you made me swallow my spit." And I think actually when I said that, Dusty in the front was just like, "I better pull over." You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, probably.
Oh,
if I was,
I dated a girl from a different school. We'll call her Annie. Wettest pussy ever. Anyway, went to see her.
Wettest or worst?
Wettest. Wettest.
hilarious.
Not her name. Not her name. And went to a house party at her house, and her brother, we'll call him Bill. I got to change both the names. I still follow him on Facebook. He's still hilarious. Can't spell for shit, but if you can decipher all the vowels and syllables, God, he's so funny. He sold this girl oregano at the party and then rolled it for her. And like, we watched her, she started doing cartwheels and stuff, and we were laughing at her and making fun of her. And then she puked. And then we were like,
"You can't smoke oregano."
Right. Well, that's like, yeah, now, but at the time we were like, was it oregano?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I'm like, what the hell? Maybe you can get high off oregano.
My cousin Trae he'd never dipped before.
Rest in peace.
No, he's still around. That's my other cousin who's dead.
Right. Rest in peace.
He had never dipped before, and he was a big jokester and a fuck around type dude. And he got offered snuff or whatever, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And he takes it and he stuffs it all into both his lower and upper lip.
Oh my God.
Like he did that, like filled up both the top and the bottom, and was doing like a character while doing it, like talking about deer and spitting all over the place or whatever. Like it was kind of funny, but I mean, it was funny, but it lasted like maybe 8 minutes or something before he was violently throwing up over the side of the bridge we were all hanging out on and fishing off of and shit.
Dipsick.
You can't just do that. Yeah,
It's hard to top Dipsick.
I've never been Dipsick because I've never really dipped in my life, as I've told y'all before. I'm pretty sure because I've always had a thing with spit.
Yeah,
so I've never done it.
I got Dipsick at like 11, and then Dipsick at football camp my freshman year.
Yep, I've also been Dipsick at at football camp. Hey, let's take a break real quick, and we'll be right back right after this.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're back, everybody. Yeah, Dipsick. I've been lucky to avoid it. I've got one more of my silly things. If y'all want to give me your input on it,
I've been loving them so far. Finding out
save
that
this
Drew
one
hates
for
Dave
the
Grohl.
end. Save this one for the end because I don't know. We'll see. But you guys both grew up in the church, but not Catholic. We're all married, yada yada. So thought it might be of interest. Also seen on Reddit, of course, over the Christmas break. So there was this lady, right? Who, while her and her husband were having a rough patch, right, she had an affair with some dude. Okay, then
Who is this? You cut out just a little bit. Who is this?
Some lady, lady on the internet. It's just like think of it as a thought experiment, I guess. But these are real people, at least reportedly. So some lady, her and her husband were having a rough patch. She has an affair. The affair ends. The rough patch ends. She's happy with her husband again. They fixed their shit. Everything's cool. But she never told him that she ever had an affair. That never came up. They're both pretty hardcore Catholic, her and her husband. They go to Mass every Sunday, all this shit. She's got a lot of guilt about doing this. So in confession one week, she tells the priest what happened. She tells the priest she had an affair. The priest says for her to get whatever the Catholics call it, absolution or whatever, whatever the fuck it is.
Bless you.
For her to do penance and shit, she's got to, say so many Hail Marys and whatever else. But also, very importantly, she has to come clean and tell her husband about what happened, right?
Mm-mm.
And that's like part of his official priest diagnosis.
Yeah, so she's got to do it or she goes to hell because they get to make the penalties up.
So... But she's like, no, that ain't it. I ain't doing that, right? So she don't do that. And again, her husband's also a big Catholic. They all go to this church together. When the husband is in confession, like a month later, the priest says some like leading coded thing to get an idea of whether or not the wife had confessed to the husband or not, right?
Yeah, he should be killed.
When it was clear that the husband did not know what the priest was talking about, the priest then straight up told him that his wife had an affair, right? And so you're already saying no. So I find this very...
Yeah, he's not allowed to do that. He has to actually stop being a priest.
That's true. It's supposed to be an instant excommunication. Like the Catholic Church acknowledges zero exceptions for the covenant of the Holy Confession or whatever the fuck they call it.
You can fuck a little boy, but you can't tell on somebody.
Right. See, now we're getting into some of it for me.
Wow.
Part of the reason that I find some of this interesting is because it's like, okay, it's like that priest broke the most holy vow that any priest has, because obviously they don't make a holy vow not to fuck little boys because that hits for them or however that works. But anyway,
I love it.
He broke the most, holy sacrament in their order, but it's also like, but was he kind of being a bro? No, at the same, like, and why do I give a fuck? Because I don't believe in God or the Pope or none of that shit, so I don't fucking care. But
do you believe in do you believe in I don't know, like sacredness between people or honesty or integrity? Because it offends me that someone would tell something to somebody in confidence that they think is protected by a vow that person took, and then they just rat on them like that.
It's fucked up. Like you shouldn't be allowed. Well, you're not allowed to do that. But I think there's one instance where it's not protected, and that is if what they have told you is about a future crime. You know what I mean? Like if they tell
you're thinking of lawyers.
Yeah.
No, I thought.
I mean, this is based on what the people on Reddit were saying. It's not like I fact check any of it, but they specifically covered that, and according to the comment section, that is not true. There is no exception for a priest anyway, whatsoever.
Where I'm getting it from is the show Father Brown and the show Daredevil. So yeah, it's not like I'd read it in a book, but I had always thought that you can, if you confess to a past crime, there's nothing that they won't do anything. But if you tell them I've been having these these weird thoughts. I feel like I want to kill my wife. Then I thought that then they could be like, hey, I got to tell somebody about this shit.
I
think
also
you're
thought
thinking
the
of
same
lawyers.
thing. I thought
Okay.
the same thing, but according to these random internet commenters, it's not true. So maybe they're wrong and I'm wrong and you're right. I don't know, but Drew says it's lawyers. So,
And,
but I also
and
thought
or
that.
maybe psychologists.
Yeah,
And or-
therapist. I think therapist, that's a thing too. But here's how I feel about the situation. Number one, them rules is the rules for a reason. If it'd be one thing if the lady, if she was cheating on her husband regularly and like he was worried that this guy might catch a venereal disease or something. I don't know, but like it's already done. And here's the situation. Like realistically, I think we've talked about this before. Her confessing is to him is kind of selfish because it's only making her feel better. It's going to make him feel worse. Like I've got all this guilt. I need to tell him. It's like, well, guess what? You got to just live with that fucking guilt because he's happy right now. So if you tell him, oh, you're not going to have any guilt, but your husband's fucking life is going to be destroyed. So like, yeah, I mean, let's just flip it around.
I hear you on that because I kind of think that too. Sometimes ignorance is bliss when it comes to shit like that. But at the same time, it feels like usually stuff like that always eventually comes out no matter what
Sure.
at some
Okay,
point.
true.
And because that is true,
When it does, it's worse.
it's way worse. And so it's like if you could somehow magically guarantee that it would never be found out about, I guess maybe it would be doing them a favor to just never tell them because ignorance is bliss. But I feel like I just think that's a really complicated and nuanced thing. Because I was going to say, if you somehow found out that one of your best friend's wife was fucking around on him, what would you do?
I would, if I like caught her red-handed or something, I probably would say it really depends on which one of my friends, because there's some of my friends I'm almost as close with their wife as I am them. It also to me would depend on like what state of mind the dude was in. I think what I would probably do is if this never happens again, I didn't see it, but this ain't ever happening again. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna have to tell homie. But I don't know. Again, it would really depend on the person. Like, I don't know. Like I can tell you
like
this
whether
though.
or not they'd want to know.
Yeah, and also just like fuck, man, I don't know, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But I'll tell you this: if Amber had cheated on me, and it would have been absolutely guaranteed that the only way I would find out is if she told me, then I would hope to God she didn't. You know what I mean? Because like ignorance is truly bliss in that situation. But like, there's some buddies that if I found out, it's because their wife don't hit for me. Hell yeah, I would fucking run tell that shit immediately. But then there's some who like, I really value their whole marriage and I don't want it to fall apart. So I'd just be like, you made a mistake, whatever.
Oh, I don't know. Let me say first of all, if this story wasn't about a priest, it's fucked up to me that a priest broke that sacred thing.
Yeah.
Not because it's sacred to me, but because it's sacred to the people who were in that confession box. I think that's fucked up. But if it was like she got drunk and told a dude who happened to know her husband, I'd be like, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
By the way, 50-50 at best, Part of me thinks he should. I think I would tell. I do. Like, as I'm understanding it, he's my homie.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'd tell because I'd want to know.
If I go
would
based
very
on,
much want to know.
Yeah.
If I'm as much like my dad as I think I am, then there's actual precedent set for me definitely telling my buddy, because this happened to my dad. He found out that one of his best friend's wife was cheating on him, but my
That was an
dad
affair, though, correct?
It was an affair.
To me, that's like you got to.
Yeah. But the thing is like my dad also didn't want to go in there with just some he said, she said conjecture shit. So my dad hired a private investigator to do like a month's worth of work to find the pattern or whatever, got pictures, gave them to my dad in a file, and he went to his friend with that because he's like, I didn't want to just come in here I didn't want to come say this and then her be like, no, I'm not. He's a fucking idiot. He's like, I needed to know 100%. And here you go, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would too. Like, I would tell also, and I mean, I'm with Drew pretty much. So it's like, so if you would tell, that's why I said it's like if you remove the holy vow part of it all, it's like the priest was kind of being a bro. But I agree.
That's true.
But
That's
I do.
true.
But I do agree also that like because it is so sacred, it's such a big fucking deal.
He cheated too. He
did,
cheated on that woman.
Yeah, right.
Like,
You
and
can't
God
just do that.
God don't exist, but he cheated on that woman. That woman went in there. They had vows, literal vows that she was relying upon. The priest and the woman deserve each other, is what's happening here.
I think maybe there's another route, which is where you say, hey, if you don't tell them, I will, and give them the opportunity to do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you
Because
get your
I
brake lines
feel,
cut, though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's true.
Or give them time to make you look like an asshole.
She goes and gets the dude
that's
she's
true.
blowing on the side or whatever, and that guy comes over. They cut your brake lines, they steal all your money somehow, and they run off to Mexico together or whatever. And that, we've all seen that movie.
Man,
I
you're
would just
dead.
hate.
You don't even know where his woman is.
Yeah, I would just hate for my buddy to forever associate that terrible thing that happened to him with me.
But that's
you know
like,
what I mean?
I don't say I don't understand that, but that's like extremely selfish. And I'm not just trying to like make you feel bad, but like you're saying
On
like
my behalf?
yes, because you're saying,
It
oh
kinda
no,
is.
he will associate negative thoughts with me. It ain't got shit to do with you, dude.
I know it doesn't. It has shit to do with them, which is why she should be the one to tell him. Again, I'm going to do it if she don't. I don't think
fair.
that's. I don't think. Well, I mean, yeah, that's literally what I fucking opened with. I don't think that's a hard ass. Like, he's gonna find this out. I'm gonna give you the chance to tell him in whatever way that you want to tell him. And if you don't, then I'm gonna tell him. But like, dude, why the fuck? Like,
It's just
selfish
risky.
hell. Like you said, it don't have nothing to do with me. So it's like, I saw this. Y'all gonna work this shit out. No, you're right though. Now that I'm thinking about the fucking brake line shit, I'm no longer in.
Or just time to cover her tracks and start telling him how shitty you are.
Yeah.
Lay the groundwork for that. You know what I mean?
And that's
Tell
why
him
my
you
dad,
hit on her.
Yeah, but that's why my dad's a G, because like my dad was like, no, I'm gonna get fucking actual evidence, because like if you do, if you do just go tell one of your buddies so and so's been cheating on you, their first is gonna be like, wait, you must have got that wrong. Like, no, it's probably just a rumor or whatever, and they're not gonna believe you, and then you're an asshole. And then if she can come back with a better story, then all of a sudden you're on the fucking outs,
Bro.
All right, here's
Imagine
a tough
that
one.
from that
Well,
guy's
first of all,
perspective, where it's like. It's like your buddy's like, listen, dude, I hate to break it to you, but your wife's kind of a whore, right? And then he pulls out a file, right? He's like been building a case and shit. He's like, you see here we got exhibits A through H.
I'm sorry that
is what happened.
I'm sorry that would really hit for me. Not the whole scenario, but that aspect of it, I would be like, man, you fucking love me. And you know me, and you knew what I'd need. Also, I'm realizing, guys, is this mainly what private investigators do?
Oh yeah, I'd
Just
say
divorce.
I'd say this is 98% of a private investigator's job is this type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Monogamy in marriage is so wild. There's like 19 cottage industries just associated with the fact that if we break up, somebody's got to get the house.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude. But fuck, man.
Okay, here's a tough one. You see people with good relationship, probably not our age, because at our age it'd be like, well, I think we're coming to the end of when it would be not acceptable. But anyway, let me do the scenario. Just like hammered, and you definitely saw him kiss somebody at a bar, not for very long, shit-faced. Then what do you do?
Yeah, because it's
not an affair. It probably isn't going to end their marriage. It's like,
right.
Man, I think I'm on my own goddamn business.
And I'm about to say, because like this, it's like that's probably not going to end their marriage, but it will start a fight and make there be a lot of resentment and stuff. So like, is this worth it?
Yeah, I think I'm on my own goddamn business in that one.
I guess I agree. That wouldn't hit either, but I mean,
No, it wouldn't hit.
It depends
Yeah.
on the friend too. Yeah, and you know what? Depends on if I like that bitch or not.
I'm saying because I swear to you, like I was thinking about all the scenarios, and I was like, well, if it was his wife, I would beat her to the house. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, you ain't gonna believe this shit, and it would hit for me because there's so many friends I've lost over the years where it's not. We still love each other, but we don't hang out because of their wife. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'd love to have them back in my life.
It's only happened to me once, but yeah.
Well,
It's
so
real.
what you do,
Yeah,
Corey,
don't hit.
is you hire a Puerto Rican pool boy or something to seduce their
Yeah.
wife, and then you catch them,
And then hire a
you gotta
private
hope-
investigator to see all of that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Have we-
And then you've got to hope that nobody catches you hiring the people, and then
That's true.
unravels from there.
Have we discussed the like TikTok trend of people asking other people on TikTok who are hot to hit on, to shoot their shot via social media with their significant other, and then that person posts it as their content?
No.
This was a trend. It's really
that's
gross. It is so
Yeah, that's
compelling, though. It
that's
is
a fucking
so
nightmare,
fucking
dude.
compelling because they post screenshots, and it's tough because 99% of the time that I've seen that they do end up being like, yeah, here's my number. You know what? Let's meet up or whatever. 99% of the time, you could feel the person in the relationship trying to say no.
Right.
They would
Right.
pause, they would drag it out, they'd be coy. It was like, you don't want to do, you're just pulling for them. Don't do this, don't do this. And then there was a couple of them, and this was also real compelling, where they would act like that, and then they would be like, I got a girlfriend. But the girlfriend would still be mad because it'd be like, yeah, but it took him 5 days and all this flirting to bring it up, which is fair. But it's like, you're pulling for your boy. You're like, come on, man, it's a trap. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
And then, but I mean, there's a guy who does it too, a good-looking guy who does it. And ooh, he gets them women.
People are so fucking disgusting. God damn. Like, I saw another one that was going around on TikTok, it's TikTok, where dudes would they would come up and they'd have their camera and they would see couples and they would be like, hey, y'all in love with each other, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, and he asked the girl, he goes, give him your phone. And she's like, why? And they go, open her Snapchat. And she'll be like, oh, I ain't got Snapchat. And it was like, they were just like trying to entrap people into find out if they were like sending titties to other people.
Yeah, I've seen that one. And then another one is, this your best friend? You got a man? Call her man right now and say you want to come over and chill without her.
Yeah.
And it's one dude hung up and then called his girl, was like, are you with Carrie? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, you need to check that bitch. And it was fucking awesome.
That's great. Well, plug all your shit, boys.
I'll do, okay. Go to TraeCrowder.com and look at all my dates and shit. What?
That was some yabba dabba do shit right there.
A bleep.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I did that, but I did do that on purpose.
Oh, you did it on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine then.
It's so wild that, whatever. I'll wait until you push the record button afterwards to say what I was going to say. But yeah, it's
Okay.
TraeCrowder.com for my tour dates and whatnot. And that's it. Listen to weekly skews and putting on airs.
Gravy Baby is out. By the time you guys hear this, we will be one day away from dropping the second episode. It's so funny. Carmen Morales is so mean to me mostly, and also DJ, and it's great. There's some clips up on my page. You can get a taste of it. It's so great. Listen to
Hits.
Gravy Baby. Review it too.
Yeah, that's important. Leave reviews on all the stuff. 5 stars, motherfuckers. And also, parttimefunnyman.com. That's my bonus stuff. And thank you all for listening to the WellRed Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.